Shri Suresh Prabhu ji. Only question. Suresh Prabhu.
So first question is, this particular ethanol blending with the petrol is going to result into lower greenhouse gas emission. There is a Kyoto protocol which actually encourages this, and therefore there is a clean development mechanism which can be resorted to. Is the government contemplating to do that? Number two, so this is actually, the problem is that there is no enough supply. So now in the economy, if you create a demand, the supply will follow. So if you enforce it by law to make it mandatory, automatically the farmers will be able to supply. So is the government thinking of making it a mandatory? And so number three, the sugar industry, which is supported by the government through various means. In fact, there was a big package for sugar industry. Also, Mr. Rural Development Minister is just now introducing a bill to guarantee employment. So can the part of the amount of money which is from Sugar Development Fund or from the Employment Guarantee Fund can be utilized for this to create employment and also to encourage use of ethanol? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Now Honorable Minister will reply.
Mr. Chairman, sir, may I begin first by thanking Shri Suresh Prabhu for having put his finger on the nub of the problem. He said, and I quote, "The problem is there is not enough supply." That is the basic fundamental truth. Honorable members from his side of the House have been telling us that there is plenty of ethanol available, and it is because we were not asking for this ethanol or we were changing notifications for political purposes that we were not procuring it. No. The fact is that Shri Suresh Prabhu is absolutely right. The nub of the problem is there is not enough supply. So there is no politics in this. It was a question of whether the previous government, when it issued its notification, had thought.
I said the second statement, if you make it mandatory, the supply will follow.
I'll come to that. Sir, the fact of the matter is that the previous government, I'm not accusing them of having taken this decision for political purposes, but I am hinting at it, took the decision that they were going to have this 5% blending in the year in which sugar cane and therefore sugar and therefore molasses and therefore ethanol production had reached an all-time high. Now what has happened since then? I do not wish to be held responsible for talking about what falls in the area of the Ministry of Agriculture and the Department of Food. So I am going to quote to you from a report of the Committee on Revitalization of the Sugar Industry set up by the Department of Food, which report has become available only in this month. So based on the information of this committee, I read, it is estimated that let me just go back one step. Maharashtra is the largest producer of sugar in the country, and Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka are some of the other producers of sugar. These states are of crucial importance to the national production of sugar. Droughts in 2002-03 and 2003-04 and woolly aphid infestation have seriously affected sugarcane production in these states. It is estimated that the availability of sugar would reduce from 165 lakh tons in 2002-03 to 121 lakh tons in 2003-04 in Tamil Nadu, from 120 lakh tons to 86 lakh tons in Andhra Pradesh, from 172 lakh tons to 100 lakh tons in Karnataka, and from 535 lakh tons in 2002-2003 to a mere 290 lakh tons in 2003-2004. It goes on to say in Maharashtra. Moreover, it goes on to say, on the other hand, because of regular floods, sugar cane production in Bihar has been consistently falling since the last 4 years. The sugar production in the country, as a result, fell from 201 lakh metric tons in 2002-2003 to a mere 140 lakh metric tons in 2003-2004. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is easy to put in gazette notifications. It's more difficult to observe them. In a situation of continuously declining availability of sugar and therefore of ethanol, we have been faced with a situation of either facing up to the truth or continuing to hide behind gazette notifications. I decided, because my guru is Mahatma Gandhi, to take the path of the truth. I told the honest truth on the 27th of October 2004 when we issued a notification which categorically stated that while the use of ethanol in blending with petrol shall continue to be mandatory, the extent to which we would reach the 5% target would depend on two crucial factors. One, availability, and second, reasonable prices. With regard to availability, there is a simple challenge that I've placed before Shri Anna Sahab Patil, Shri Santosh Gangwar, and the others.
गन्ना बहुत अधिक है और शुगर की कमी नहीं है इसी साल अभी 4 दिन पहले एक पृष्ठ को कर रखा है आप पुरानी रिपोर्ट मत पढ़िए
मैं आपके सामने
हम गन्ना उत्पादक
He has not yielded unless he yields. Mr. Chandrapan, please take your seat. Don't stand there.
Sir, I have just read some of the extracts from the report of the Committee on the Vitalization of the Sugar Industry, presented only this month. That report contains the following sentence, which I did not read out earlier, and I'd like to read it now. It says at paragraph 5.1.4, the problem of low availability of sugarcane and low capacity utilization is expected to continue in the 2004-2005 sugar season also. Now, I am, sir, not concerned with whether it will become available or whether it will not become available. I am concerned with whether the tender that we are going to be floating, that the entire oil industry is going to be floating by the end of December or by the first week of January for 367,000 kiloliters will be met or not. Our past experience, as I already told you in the statement, was that we were not able to procure the quantities which we wanted. Now we are floating it. And if, in fact, there is availability, we would be only too happy to purchase it. But in purchasing it, we have to recognize that it has to be at reasonable prices. And what do I mean by reasonable prices? I was very pleased to learn from Shri Anna Sahab Patil that he thinks a reasonable price is 22 to 23 rupees a litre. If it becomes available at 22 to 23 rupees a litre, I don't think we will have any difficulty in procuring it. So the figures that I have before me, based upon the figures that I have before me,
rupees 40 paisa. Yeah. Therefore, if you give 22 and 23 rupees, certainly the industry will welcome your proposal.
Sir,
they will welcome your proposal.
Sir, I have no problem at all in their presenting prices in the tender. After all, we're floating the tender to procure the amount at what I called a reasonable price. And I want to explain, sir, what is meant by a reasonable price. And it is not based, it's not based on some fanciful price of crude oil. What we are saying is, I'm now taking the figures on the date of the 16th of December 2004. It's the latest figure that I have. In terms of this, the refinery transfer price, which would give us neither under recoveries nor over recoveries, for ethanol blended petrol per kiloliter, which varies slightly from state to state, would be from a low of 24,072.80 rupees per kiloliter in Vasco, which is the lowest, to 25,804.71 rupees in Uttar Pradesh, which is the average highest. Shri Patil well knows that the delivery points also affect the prices, but this is the approximate range within which we would be able to deliver ethanol blended petrol at a reasonable price. Now, this being so, we are attempting to reach this figure. But there's no point in saying this and then turning around and saying, why are we taking import parity prices? There's only one reason we are undertaking import parity prices. It is because a minister elected from Maharashtra on the 1st of April 2002 decided that our administered pricing mechanism would be dismantled and that we would price it on import parity. So when it is your own government, moreover a minister from your own state who has made this decision, please don't pose the question to me, please pose the question to yourself. We are not bringing politics into this, and I would plead with my friend, the Honorable Shri Ramji Lal Suman, not to refer to this as an avyavaharik nirnay. These are decisions taken in the face of hard reality. I would plead with Shri Anand Gite to also not make politics of this as they tend to make politics of many other things. The fact of the matter is that if you are able to supply 367,000 kiloliters from Maharashtra and other states where there is an availability, and it is at a price that is reasonable, there is no difficulty whatsoever in our procuring it. But for the future, it is absolutely essential. It's absolutely essential that state governments take appropriate steps. Please remember, sir, that sugarcane is a very water-intensive crop, but only 3% of the land in which sugarcane is grown in our country is irrigated. So we are totally dependent upon nature. Moreover, 60% of the sugar factories are in the cooperative sector. And this being so, whether we can get the ethanol in required quantities at reasonable prices would depend entirely on state governments being more proactive and announcing state-level remunerative sugarcane prices, as also making assurances of the availability of water for this purpose in advance of the sowing season, so that the ethanol manufacturer receives the encouragement required for sustaining the ethanol blended petrol program. We are sincere in this regard. We wish to continue the program. We are willing to continue the program if it is technologically feasible well beyond even 5%, but there is no point in quoting the example of the United States or some other foreign country. We have to take our ground realities into account, and the ground reality is that when you took this decision back in the year 2001, you did not, either in the case of the APM dismantling or in this case, take into account the possibility that there would be a drop in production. So don't take decisions which are taken in an abnormal boom situation, treat that abnormal boom situation as normal, and then turn around to us in a situation of deep scarcity and say that we are trying to make politics out of it. Reasonable decisions require a proper understanding of this country. This lack of understanding of this country resulted in India shining. And it is the UPA government that properly understands the true nature of this country, and therefore our decisions are based on ground realities. Thank you, sir.